Huepar laser levels. Are their products actually any good, or is it just clever marketing? Well, that's the burning question. Can a Huepar laser level that costs a fraction of brands like DeWalt, can it compete in this space? Well, I'm going to put this thing through some tough tests to find out if it's the new king of laser levels or if it's just hype. Well, Huepar sent me this, the 704 CG. They sent me it about 4 months ago with no expectation of me to say anything good about it. I'm not obliged to say anything good, so if it's not good, you'll hear it's not good. And I haven't actually featured it on the channel, but when I thought about doing this little review of it on this second channel, I thought, should I bother cleaning it up, or should I leave it covered in tile adhesive and paint and all kinds of things, which kind of shows you guys by the fact that it's really dirty that I have actually been using it. I just haven't had a reason to show you it on the main channel. So today we're going to put it through its paces. We're going to see what you get in the box. We'll look at its pricing. We will look at its battery life, because draining batteries on laser levels is a massive annoyance. So we'll have a look at the battery life. We'll look at the green laser, see how bright it is, and we're even going to drop it and test its durability to see whether we should introduce one of these to our toolbox or not bother. So, without further ado, let's have a look and get straight into some initial tests. Now, I've been using this DeWalt laser level for about 7 years now, and I think it's only fair that we put the Huepar up against one of the big 3 names: DeWalt, Milwaukee and Makita. Because there is this preconception out there, especially if you go on a building site, that you've got to have one of the big 3 brands, a DeWalt, a Makita or a Milwaukee, and if you don't, there's this tool tardiness around what tools people have got in their toolbox. So I think it's important that we get one of the big 3 brands out, and granted they're at different price points, but we will test the 2 next to each other. Now, laser levels, no matter what brand you use, are one of the best tools that you can own as a DIY or a tradesman. They're such a versatile tool. They come in really handy for tiling. That's one of the things I use them quite a lot for. Stud work, putting downlights in, a whole host of different things. And there's something that you guys need to have in your toolbox. So before we get into some accuracy tests, I'm going to go right out of the box and tell you pretty much the only thing after 4 months of using this that I don't like about the Huepar, and that is quite simply the box. I know it sounds daft. Let's get this out of the way. It just seems really cheap, and I think an unboxing experience is quite important. And the clasps, for example, they're just made of awful metal in comparison to the DeWalt ones. I know it's a small thing, and packaging, it might not be important to everybody, and I appreciate the money's been spent in the device itself. I understand that, but that just annoys me a bit. So let's get rid of that. Now we've got the bad bit out of the way, because I'll let you in on a little hint, it is the only bad bit. I'm going to start on some accuracy tests. So we're going to set the Huepar and the DeWalt up 4 meters away on the other side of the room, and we're going to use a 6-foot traditional spirit level along this wall here. It's quite a new level, it's perfect, it reads perfectly, and we'll see how level they are against this level. So let's set this level up. So we'll set the Huepar up on a tripod, so it's got a nice sturdy base. Now, it is self-leveling, it will find its level. I'm not going to go into all the boring little specs and details on the laser level itself, because that stuff can be read online. I'll put a link in the description. You can read all the fancy details and specifications yourself. I might touch on them, but I'm not going to go into it. I'm going to go into the important things: how long the battery lasts, how durable it is, all that kind of stuff. The stuff that we actually want to know. The boring stuff you can read later. Now, it does have magnets on the back. You can stick it to things if you want to, screws, stud work, that kind of thing, but for this test we'll put it on a tripod, and what we'll do, we'll hit that nice big on button, because that's exactly what it has, nice and easy to use, and then we're going to spin this round and we're going to switch our laser to a vertical line. So there she is, she's on the tripod. Let's have a look at what we've got over the other side of the room. You can see that nice bright green laser there, right along the edge of that level. And what we can see is it's perfectly level. So that's a very simple test. We can see that the laser level produces a nice, bright and perfectly level line. Just for reference, I think we should compare that against the DeWalt, and then we'll take a look at some distance and brightness tests. So not a good start. If you can see, that's flashing. The DeWalt is dead. Flat as a pancake, and I think that probably is a good time to tell you a little bit about why I'm beginning to prefer my Huepar. I know they're a different price point. This is about 100 quid, these are about 200 quid. One of the big differences is the DeWalt has AA batteries. You have to keep changing the batteries, and the Huepar has a rechargeable, removable battery that will last you all day. Yes, you heard it. All day. I've had this thing tiling, creating lines all day. It just doesn't die. The thing goes on and on and on. So we're back in business, batteries are in, and let's give the DeWalt a try just as a benchmark and see if this one's perfectly level. This is about 7 years old, so if this DeWalt is perfectly level, then it's a pretty decent laser level in terms of its durability. This thing's been dropped and all sorts. So let's put this one on. Turn that one off. There we go. Let's see what we've got. Just like the Huepar, we can see that the DeWalt is nice and level. So even after 7 years, that thing is still a pretty decent level. What I noticed straight away is that that red line, I don't know if this camera's picking it up, but it's not as bright as the green line. And that's something that there's always these debates about. Is a green line brighter than a red line? I think it definitely is. And to prove the green laser versus the red laser theory, let's take them outside and see what they're like when they're further away in daylight. Now I'm going to hang both lasers on a screw on this old shed here, and then we're going to fire the laser 7 meters in that direction in daylight, and we're going to have a look at the two lasers compared, the red versus the green, and see how bright they are and see if you can see them. And the brightness is turned up on both lasers as high as they go. The DeWalt, you can't adjust it on this one. The Huepar, you got 3 different settings. So we're going 7 meters away towards the workshop here, and let's have a look. Now we are really pushing these things to the max, and I don't know if you can see it here, I'll bring you in a bit closer, but we've got our green and our red laser next to each other, and for some reason on the DeWalt the vertical is dimmer than the horizontal. So you can see the 2 red lines. You've got the vertical one just at the tip of my finger there, I don't know if you can see it, and you've got the horizontal red line just there, and you've got the green vertical line just there and the green horizontal line just there. Now all laser levels struggle outside. That's just the nature of them. We're about 7 meters away from those levels, and what we can take from that is that red, especially on that vertical line, for whatever reason, is a little bit harder to see. But granted, the green is kind of at its limit as well. It's still sort of usable, but it isn't very bright. And if you want your laser level to be a more usable device outside, no matter what one you're using, you really do want a line receiver to make them nice and easy to detect at much longer ranges than what we're working with here. So we've come back inside because it's cold out there, and what I want to do now is show you a little feature that this thing has that I absolutely love. And there is a reason I've brought you in UTC headquarters today, and that is because I fitted these bits of timber, these battens, on the wall, and I used this laser level to do it, and it came in really handy with its unique little feature. Let me show you. So the laser has a manual mode. If we pop this on our tripod here, we'll be able to set this at an angle that we can follow. Now to take it out of pendulum mode where it will level itself, all we need to do is turn it off, and then we can press VH, hold that down, and we're going to get manual mode. Now every now and again you'll see it flash, and all that's going to do is remind us it's in manual mode. But what we can do now is we can tip that laser over and we can create a fixed angle to follow. And if we just make a couple of fine little adjustments, you can see what we end up with is a line at the perfect angle. So if we wanted to continue that on, we would have a line where we could put our battens on the wall. This is useful if you're doing any of those staggered photos up the wall or anything like this, and it comes in extremely handy. But let's bring our laser level indoors and use it in a way that a DIYer typically would. Our task is to line those 2 lights up correctly so that they look perfectly in line down the middle of the room. That is a perfectly common DIY task and something you might use your laser level for. So our laser level's on, and you can see that line. This room is about 14 meters long. So let's have a look and see if we can see this line perfectly all the way throughout the room, you can see, I'm standing in the line, you can see, look how bright and clear that line is. And like I say, this is a big distance. Obviously the line's being blocked there by the bulb, so ignore that bit. We're picking the line back up, even in the bright bit there, look. You can see all the way to the other end of the room. Look how nice and bright that is. And we lose it, of course, because it's gone outside, and I don't think we're going to see it on the neighbour's fence all that way away. So you can see, even at these sort of distances indoors, that green laser is perfectly bright. Traditionally, especially at long distances, if you want to line your line up with something, you have to try and make micro adjustments by just turning the level, and it can be really hard, especially at long distance, to get that line to line up correctly. But the Huepar has a neat feature, and that's the ability to make micro adjustments on this little wheel here. It definitely makes a line in your laser a lot smoother and a lot easier. Now I think you've probably worked out by now that I quite like this Huepar laser level. 4 months of use, it's done me really well so far. But we're going to do one more test and see how it holds up, and that is a durability test. I've dropped this a few times and it's still going strong. You shouldn't really drop laser levels, but inevitably now and again you do. So I think what we should do is do a little drop test and then go back to our level and find out if it survives it. So let's see how that holds up. But before we do that, if you like this new second channel of mine, hit subscribe, because that allows it to grow and bring better things to this channel, and hit like, because that helps this video reach and help more people out there on the internet. I don't really know what we're going to do fully with a second channel yet, but if you like these tool reviews, let me know down below in the comments. Maybe I'll do more tool reviews. I feel awful doing this, but someone's got to do it. Ouch. So the battery's popped out, but generally it looks okay. It turns on. Let's check that everything functions. Yeah, so you can see it's working. Let's test it. Now before I do that, if you want to win power tools, including laser levels, check out Ultimate Tool Competitions. We give away thousands of pounds worth of tools every single week. This week we've got something really special for you, as well as a link to buy one of these in the description. You can click on the Ultimate Tool Competitions link, where this week we're giving you the chance to win one. The ticket numbers are low, the ticket prices are low, and you simply need to get your name in the hat to win yourself one. I'll pop a link down below in the description to my website, Ultimate Tool Competitions. Go buy yourself some tickets where you can win some incredible tools from the biggest brands in the world, and there'll be a link to the Huepar on there as well. So let's test it, see how it's held up. So I've got the laser level on the table here. Let's adjust the beam and see what we get. If I move this way, you'll be able to see this. The beam quality, the level is just as good as it was before, and I've just dropped this thing, I think, past what it was rated for. So it shows the durability of the thing. Now in summary, it is a high quality feeling piece of kit. It's made from nice plastics. It really does feel like a good high quality tool, not some Chinese cheap tool, which I kind of expected when I first got my eyes on one. It has really surprised me, and I can't really find any negatives about it. I've used it in day-to-day use. I mean, it's still got tile adhesive all over it, which I'll probably take off for the thumbnail. It gets a massive thumbs up from me. It's just survived a drop way beyond what it's rated for. Like I said, the only negative for me, the packaging. I think they could do a little better with that. But you know what? If they keep making good quality tools like this, I'm going to let him off with the packaging. The DeWalt you've seen in today's video is only £100. This Huepar is £200. However, the equivalent DeWalt that has the features this has is £400. So this sits somewhere in between. And if we're talking about value and bang for buck, this is the laser level to have. And it's about what one would I pick up for a day's work. And it's going to be this one every single time. And that is mainly for 3 reasons. I've got 3 fingers up there to check. The first one is the battery life. It'll last all day. The second one is the amount of different beam options this gives me. And the third one is that fine adjustment. So would I buy one? Yes, I would. I would not hesitate to go and grab yourself one of these. There will be a link in the description. It is an Amazon affiliate link. I do get a little kickback if you want one But look, I guarantee you'll like it. Well, unless you don't like green or something like that. You can never guarantee everyone's going to be happy, but it's a good bit of kit. And I think if you can get over that tool tartness, especially on a building site, if you're a tradesman, you're going to take one of these on a building site, someone's going to say, oh, we've got a Huepar, not a DeWalt, a Milwaukee, a Bosch, or Makita, or whatever. If you can get over that, look, great bit of kit. Like I say, I hope you like these tool reviews. If you do, let me know. And whatever we film next on this second channel, I'll see you next time.